Hey guys, it's KJ from Disney Mama's. Welcome back. Today I am here to share with you my top tips for going on a Disney cruise while you are pregnant. For those of you who don't know, I am pregnant now at the time of filming. We also recently went on our first Disney cruise and I was pregnant at the time of the cruise. Not quite as pregnant as I am now. At the time of filming, I am 36 weeks pregnant. When I went on our Disney cruise, I was 21 weeks? 21 or 22 weeks. I think I was 21 weeks pregnant. So I have a lot of tips to share with you guys if you're not sure if you're pregnant or if you know you might be pregnant when you go on a cruise, because sometimes people book cruises like a year out and you don't know what's going to happen. You could be pregnant by then, or you just never know. So I compiled this list for you guys and I'm very excited to share it with you. If you are new to the channel, we do a ton of Disney videos, especially when it comes to taking toddlers to Disney World or taking toddlers on Disney cruises or just Disney World and Disney cruising in general. We also do a lot of shop with me, shopping hauls, home decor, that sort of thing. So if you like any of those things, we would love to have you subscribe, join our internet fam. And if you like today's video, we would love it if you give it a big thumbs up. It really helps spread the word about our channel and it lets me know that you like these types of videos. So without further ado, let's dive into these tips for going on a Disney cruise while you are pregnant. So my first tip, it's my biggest tip, or at least it's my most important tip, and that is that you cannot go on a Disney cruise if you are 24 weeks pregnant or if you will turn 24 weeks pregnant during the course of the cruise. So if you're going on a cruise for 7 nights and that last night is the day you turn over to 24 weeks, you are not allowed to go on a cruise. There are no exceptions. You cannot have a doctor write a note. It is a standard rule across Disney Cruise Line, and I believe it is actually a standard rule across all cruising. And the reason behind that is at 24 weeks the baby becomes viable and the cruise lines do not have the proper medical needs for you if you were to go into labor. So that is why you cannot travel on a Disney cruise, or any cruise for that matter, if you are 24 weeks or turning 24 weeks during the time of your cruise. So make sure if you're planning a cruise, you do it before that so that you can go on your cruise and not have to worry and just have a great time. My next tip, also an important one, pick your itinerary wisely. Make sure that if you're going somewhere like to the Caribbean, that there is no Zika. That is very important. You want to pick an itinerary that's going to be Zika free. So while we don't really hear about Zika as much anymore, it does exist in some countries still. So just make sure that wherever you're going, just look into it, ask your doctor, ask your healthcare professional, and just make sure that the place you're going, your destination for your cruise, is Zika free and just you don't have to worry about it. My next tip, especially if you are someone that has never been on a Disney cruise or a cruise in general, or if you've never been on a cruise pregnant, I would recommend you go on a shorter cruise because you just don't know how you're going to be, how you're going to feel with the waves rocking you and the seasickness. So we went on a 3-night cruise, which is basically the shortest cruise you can go on. I believe Disney does have an itinerary that's 2 nights out of San Diego, but basically 3-night cruises are more common. So I would say go on that 2-night or 3-night cruise, get your fill, but this way you're not overdoing it. And usually those shorter cruises, they don't have days at sea. So for us, that was great because we were in port basically the whole time except at night when we were traveling to our next destination. So for me, that just worked out a lot better because I am someone that does apparently get seasick and the shorter cruise just made it a lot easier for me to manage that. And speaking of getting seasick, make sure you consult your doctor or healthcare professional for 2 things. Consult your doctor, your healthcare professional before you go on your cruise, before you book your cruise, or if you've already booked it, once you know you're pregnant and that you're going to go on the cruise pregnant, consult your doctor, your healthcare professional, and make sure that they give you the okay. So when we booked our cruise, we booked it about 2 months out from the cruise. And at that point, I think I was probably at least 12 weeks pregnant at the time. I can't remember, baby brain here, but probably around 12 weeks pregnant. And my doctor gave me the okay, said I was able to go. So definitely check with your healthcare professional. And then the part 2 to that is check with your healthcare professional on what medications you can take. So my doctor said I could take Dramamine. That doesn't mean your doctor is going to say the same thing, but just check with your healthcare professional and see if there's anything they recommend that you can take for seasickness. So the first night, I wish I had taken it sooner. Actually, I don't even know if I took it the first night. I definitely took it nights 2 and 3, but I wish I had just taken it and just, the doctor said it was okay. Like, it did help me. So make sure you consult your healthcare professional and figure out what the best option for you would be to combat seasickness if you're someone who ends up getting seasick. My next tip, going along with sort of the seasickness, if you are someone that has terrible morning sickness, I do not recommend going on a Disney cruise or any cruise. So I am someone that usually, this is my third pregnancy, I usually start to turn over or turn things around 20 weeks. This time, this pregnancy, sweet things still gave me a hard time till about 30 weeks. I couldn't eat anything sweet, which really was kind of a bummer considering you get so many desserts and stuff on the Disney cruise. But if you are someone that, if you're going, maybe you plan to go when you're like 12 weeks pregnant or sometime in your first trimester or second trimester like me, and you still feel sick, I would not recommend going. It is just, it will not be a great experience. I wouldn't go. I would wait till you either know later on in your pregnancy that you're someone that feels better by 12 weeks or by 20 weeks, or just don't go when you're pregnant. Wait till the baby's here and you can go and not even have to worry about that. Because like for me, you know, there were a couple nights that I did try some of the desserts, and of course I immediately like regretted it, but I still did it every night. I mean, it was so hard not to. Like, there's just so many desserts and they're all so delicious, but luckily that was the only thing that was still making me sick. Around 20 weeks, my nausea didn't completely subside, but it was like definitely way better than it had been. But like I said, the sweets were still giving me a little bit of trouble, so had to avoid those as much as I could. But yes, if you're someone that gets morning sickness, I would not recommend going until either your morning sickness passes and you're still in that window before 24 weeks, or you just wait till you have the baby. My next tip is to tell your server that you are pregnant. They are super, super, super accommodating. Like, we loved our servers so much. We had Richard and Ricardo on the Wish, and they were amazing. And night one, I told them that I was pregnant, and just anything that I needed, they were so just, you know, accommodating and wonderful. So just let your server know, because like Disney Cruise Line service, there is nothing like it. And like I said, if you let them know you're pregnant, they will make sure that your food is cooked properly. Not that they wouldn't otherwise, but let's say you were getting a steak or a hamburger or something. Those things have to be cooked to a certain temperature. They will make sure that your hamburger is cooked to the right temperature, and that, you know, you don't have anything that you are not allowed to have when you're pregnant and that sort of thing. So let your servers know. Along those same lines, let your room attendant know, or your room host know, that you, not necessarily that you're pregnant, but if you need anything, let them know. So for me, I needed extra pillows just because to get myself comfortable with my bump and everything, I needed a few more pillows than what were provided. No issues at all. Our room host was amazing, and anything that we needed, they were super accommodating. Like I said, anything that I needed, anything that my family needed, our room host was super accommodating. Like I said, the service on Disney Cruise Line is unmatched. It is unmatched. I've never had such amazing service. And anything you need, just let them know. Like I said, with the pillows, it was not a problem. They got me my extra pillows and whatnot. So let your room attendant know if there's something you need to be more comfortable, because if you are pregnant, we all know sometimes it's very tough to be comfortable. My next tip, room service. Room service is always an option if you're just not up for going to the buffet or going to your sit-down dinner. It's always an option. And for the most part, the room service menu, if you wanted to get something, let's say we're eating at 1923 that night, but you just weren't feeling up to it, you can call room service and order something from 1923 for the menu you were supposed to have that night, and they will bring it to your room. So it's just something to note. Or if you're just not up for going up to Marceline Market in the morning for breakfast, you can either fill out something. They have like a little card that you can fill out the night before and hang that on your door, and it's more like a continental breakfast. But if in the morning, you didn't do that because you thought you'd be okay in the morning, but maybe you're not, you can call room service and have something brought to your room. So just a great option to have in case you're just not filling up to going down to the dining halls to go eat. My next tip, know you will be limited in terms of activities you can participate in. So what do I mean by this? On our Nassau Day, they have something called Hero Zone. If you are pregnant, you cannot participate. If you wanted to go on the Aqueduct or the Aqua Mouse, no can do. You are not allowed to go on the water slides. You can't go on the kiddie water slides. They have the Partysaurus Rex or Slidosaurus Rex based on Partysaurus Rex from Toy Story. You cannot go on that either. If you are going to Castaway Cay, you cannot go on any of those water slides. Not allowed. So just manage your expectations going in and know that there'll be certain physical limits for you that you just, activities that you will not be able to participate in. Although I really wish I could have gone on the Aqua Mouse and experienced the Pelican Plunge at Castaway Cay and all those things. I still had a great time. So no, you can still have a great time, But just remember, these are things that you cannot participate in. My next tip, going back to the seasickness, if you are someone that you know you get seasick or you're not sure if you get seasick, do not look at the ocean while you are moving. Our first night we went to Arundel for dinner and I was looking out at the beautiful scenery, the ocean, while we were eating, and while it was a great view and I'm sure many other people would have enjoyed it, I did not enjoy it, and it was our first night and I didn't know this. So do not look out any window or over any balcony while you're moving if you are someone that gets seasick, especially if you are pregnant, because I'm telling you, it is just not a good experience. My next tip, this might seem like a silly one, but drink lots of water. Like, drink as much water as you can. You want to be hydrated. You want to especially be hydrated if you're going on a cruise where you're going to be in the sun. You want to be hydrated because you are eating a lot of processed foods and things like that, things that have salt in them. So you just want to make sure that you're getting your water intake. You might be going to Castaway Cay or to another tropical location on your cruise, and you're going to be in the sun. The sun hits differently than it does, you know, I'm someone that lives in New York. The sun is definitely different. In Florida, the sun is definitely different. In Castaway Cay in the Bahamas. So you want to make sure that you are getting your water. If you're someone that doesn't like the water that you get from, you know, the faucet, you can also bring your own water. You can bring bottled water. I believe you can bring a case of water as a carry-on with you. I do believe it has to be something that you carry on to the ship. I don't think you can check it. So make sure you look into that if you're someone that prefers bottled water. You can buy bottled water on the ship, but that is not complimentary. Like, you have to buy the bottled water. So just know that as well. But stay hydrated, you guys. It hits differently down there. Again, something else that might seem obvious. Take breaks. Take naps if you need them. You're growing a human being inside of your body. Like, this is a lot of work. This is my third time around. Like, I know, it's a lot of work, and it's really important to take those breaks. Now, breaks look different for different people. I have 2 toddlers, so a lot of the time, like, I'm on the go and it's difficult for me to take breaks. But a break might be we're going to the splash pad and I'm sitting on a chair while my husband John, he's, you know, walking around with the kids. Or maybe you put your kids in the daycare or the kids club and you go take a nap. Or maybe, like me, my little guy, he still takes naps. So he was 18 months old at the time of our first Disney cruise. So when he was napping, I went up and I would rest. I didn't necessarily get to fall asleep and nap, but John had my daughter and I was with my little guy. So I just would lay down for a few minutes and kind of like decompress and rest. So just make sure you take those breaks where you need to, because it's really important to take care of yourself. It's might be vacation, but sometimes we forget that we still need to take care of ourselves, take care of our bodies. You're a grown human being. Like, this is really, it's hard work. My next tip, arrive early to the nighttime shows. You want to have access to the aisles, especially if you're someone like me that needs to use the restroom often while pregnant. So I would recommend getting there at least a half hour early. If you want to know more of my tips on Disney Cruise Line in general, I do have a video for that, and that is one of my big tips for going on a Disney Cruise Line. Especially if you're pregnant, maybe you don't need to sit so close to the stage, but you do want to probably have a seat that's close to the aisle so that you do have easy access to the restroom if you should need it. So along those same lines of arriving early, my next tip also has to do with arriving early, but this is for dining. On your first night of dining, arrive early. Why do you need to arrive early on that first night? Well, our experience when we got to our first night, it was at Arundel, we were sort of sandwiched in. If you guys are unfamiliar with Disney cruising, you sit very close to everybody. So even if you have your like own individual table, you're basically sitting, maybe like we had a table of 4, we were right next to the next people. I mean, I think our tables probably touched. Like, you feel separate, but also you feel like you're like one long dining table. So originally they had us like really packed in there, and I'm like, I'm not going to survive this like 2-hour dinner without having to use the restroom. So I did ask if they can move us to the end. So they did. Now, not every restaurant. At 1923, we had our own table where there was nobody like directly next to us, which was nice for that first night. And also our last night at the Marvel restaurant, there was the same thing where our tables were like right next to each other, and they already knew to put me on the end. So make sure that first night you do ask if you can be put on a table that is on the end, basically like on an aisle. And this way you just have easy access to the restroom should you need it. My next tip, get a maternity bathing suit. Now listen, if you're someone that likes to wear a bikini while pregnant, like you do you, however, I would recommend if you have an itinerary like going to Castaway Cay, if you're not somebody that is in the sun a lot, like me, I actually basically hide from the sun, I would recommend getting a maternity one piece. Your skin is stretching when the sun hits it, you know, it's not a good combination. So even if you are wearing all that sunscreen, I still would recommend getting a one piece. The sun is just, like I said earlier, when it comes to drinking water, like the sun hits differently when you're in Florida, the sun hits differently when you're in the Caribbean. It's just not the same. So I would recommend getting a one piece. You want to protect your body from the sun as much as you can. So, and again, if you don't want to do that, that's fine, you do you, but personally, I would recommend getting a one piece covering your bump maternity suit. I would highly recommend doing that because, like I said, the sun just hits differently. It's just going to impact you a little bit differently than if you were home, say like me, in the Northeast and at your local beach. It's just the sun is so much stronger. And my next tip along those same lines, like I have said now multiple times, guys, the sun just hits differently. So make sure you are applying that sunscreen. Make sure you're reapplying more often than you normally would. Seek shade where you can. You do not want to get heat stroke when you're on vacation, especially when you are pregnant. I mean, you don't want heat stroke ever, but especially if you're on a ship in the middle of the ocean or you're on an island in the Caribbean, you know, you're not at home. One of our servers was telling us that they usually have at least like 1 or 2 people that pass out from heat exhaustion or have some kind of issue with the heat, or whether they're dehydrated or whatnot because they didn't take the proper precautions necessary. They said it happens on every single cruise. So you don't want to be one of those people, so make sure you take the proper precautions necessary. My next tip, bring some healthy snacks with you. You can bring food on board as long as it is pre-packaged. Wear comfy shoes and wear comfy clothes. You do not want to be uncomfortable while you are pregnant, especially while you're on a Disney cruise. There are just so many different things, factors, like I said, the seasickness, the sun and everything. So just make sure that you have things that are comfortable. You can always change if you're wearing, you know, if you're going to Powell and you have to dress up, but then, you know, you can always change it to something more comfortable. So just make sure you have enough comfy clothes, comfy shoes, and also those snacks. Even though there's plenty of food on the ship, I brought some almonds with me. I had some applesauce pouches that I shared with my kids. I just wanted to have some healthy snacks that I could munch on in between meals and stuff like that. That is it for my tips if you are going on a Disney cruise while pregnant. I really hope that you guys found this list helpful. If you have any other tips that you think I should have on my list, please let me know in the comments down below. I would love to read them myself, and I would love for you guys to be able to go through the comments and see if there's anything that I missed to get some extra tips for yourself if you are someone who is going on a Disney cruise while pregnant. I really want to have a community here where we can help each other out and give each other tips. So like I said, if you have any tips that I may have missed or didn't think of, please let me know in the comments down below. And if you guys did enjoy today's video, please give it a thumbs up. Like I said, it really helps spread the word about our channel. It lets me know that you guys like videos like this so that I can continue to make videos that you guys like and hopefully find helpful. Thank you again for watching, and with that, I will see you guys real soon. Bye!